With an already built-in conflict of interest with WSIB controlling the purse strings for the injured worker, Bill 135 only serves to entice WSIB and their controlling interests to deny injured workers. On the face of it, Bill 135, Helping Ontario Families and Managing Accountability Act, seemed to be a responsible set of words. But in effect, it's doubling down on the backs of the injured workers. The CEO said as much. Although with bureaucratic staffing levels at WSIB at an all-time high, and although 50% of workers have been denied, they continue to push the emphasis on the problem being the injured worker. Now let's talk about that unfunded liability, which WSIB said are the result of rates not being in line with claims. First, whose fault is that? But it goes much deeper than that. Now let's take a look at everyone who's got their feet dipped into the revenue, their toes dipped into the revenue stream that is meant to support and protect the injured workers. First, staffing at WSIB at all-time high. So all of those wages, all of those pensions and benefits for those current wages are being charged and collected by WSIB out of the same stream that's supposed to support and protect the injured worker. On top of the revenue that they receive, they also receive bonuses. Again, an additional incentive to say no, to deny the injured worker, and again is being collected from the funds that's meant to support that injured worker. On top of that, anybody that retires from WSIB, on an accumulative basis, that will always be charged, and that will always be collected from the revenue stream, again meant to protect the injured worker. Office of Worker Advisor. When you look at the website of Office Worker Advisor, they will tell you that the OWA is not part of WSIB. And although they state it on their website, under the Workplace Safety and Insurance Act of 1997, WSIB is required to reimburse the Government of Ontario for all administrative costs of the Occupational Health and Safety Act and the Office of the Worker and Employer Advisor. In other words, all their wages get charged back to WSIB. So as an injured worker, when you walk into the Office of the Worker Advisor, you're actually siphoning money out of your own fund that's meant to be there to protect and support you. What I can't tell you, and if you look at their website, you'll see where they have a financial statement posted, and they operate on a zero budget because they charge back at the end of each year back to WSIB. What they don't have is accumulative figures. So what I don't know and what I can't tell you, because they don't have the financial statements to show it, is whether or not that not only are the associate wages being charged back to WSIB, but are benefit and pension plans of those associates charged back to WSIB, and anybody who retires out of the Office of Worker Advisor, are they carried over as an accumulative charge to WSIB? Because that's all coming out of the same funds that's meant to support the injured worker. And Ministry of Labor, that has overlapping duties with WSIB. Funny, the Ministry of Labor, I looked in quite detail, they seem to be the only ministry that doesn't post a financial statement for a year end. But we do know they have some overlapping responsibilities with WSIB, and they are mandated and can charge back WSIB costs. What I can't tell you is how much are they charging back WSIB and for what salaries. So is it a little, half of it, all of it? I can't tell you that. But between the three, they're all part of a government bureaucracy that are collecting from the revenue stream that's meant to protect the injured worker. And this is starting to look like, WSIB is starting to look like a revenue stream to support the salaries of bureaucrats in different bureaucratic offices. And it's starting to smell more like a government pension plan. Now, that could account for why they want this unfunded liability covered, to protect a government pension plan. but I don't think we should be considering W.S.I.B. as their government pension plan or their own little nest egg that they can play with. The next issue is the assessment centers. Now those assessment centers, when you go through them, they'll tell you directly that they're not associated with W.S.I.B. and they're not influenced by W.S.I.B., but they're paid by W.S.I.B. They're contracted by W.S.I.B. Whether directly or through insurances. When you walk into an assessment center, that doctor who's assessing you is in effect getting funds from the same revenue stream that is meant to support and protect you. And the real slap in the face there is that it's covered under in the benefit section. So it's considered a benefit when that assessment doctor minimizes your injuries. First, he's taken the funds that's meant to protect you, and then it's considered a benefit. Now, the only problem I have with that is that there's no breakdown on the W.S.I.B. site on benefits. I can't tell you exactly what is going to an injured worker, what is going to government employees, what is going to pension plans and benefits. And that's something that maybe we should pass an accountability act for. Then we also have different levels of bureaucrats to compensate for W.S.I.B.'s incompetence off the gate. When you walk into an office and you're not satisfied or you don't know what your benefits are, they also have 3 different levels of oversight. The ARO, Appeals Resolution Officer, the Tribunal, and also the Fair Practice Commission. All of these 3, although they're supposed to be mediators and a separate entity from W.S.I.B., they're all drawing from the same funds. They're all W.S.I.B. employees. They're all drawing from the same revenue stream that is meant to support and protect the injured worker. So what do you think your chances are now going into a tribunal knowing that they're actually drinking from the same trough that is meant to support the injured workers? Or the Appeals Resolution Officer, they're being paid from the same salaries from the same revenue stream that's meant to protect the injured worker. And the Fair Practice Commission is the same thing. They're also paid through W.S.I.B. So when you look at all of the different areas, all of the people that have their feet dipped into the waters of the revenue stream that's meant to support and protect the injured workers, you start to get the sense and you start to understand why it is the injured worker faces the obstacles they do. In my next presentation, I'll cover off some of the suggestions I have for W.S.I.B. that is really focused and meant on supporting the injured worker.